First of all, I just want to thank Morgan and Allison for hosting me at this space. It's so beautiful, and I'm truly honored and blessed to be able to share my thoughts and my feelings with a lot of people who've known me for several years, and I consider my extended family. So it really is an honor to be able to share this with you. Some new things, some old things that I've been working on. For those of you who may not be keeping score, I know there's been a lot going on in the news lately in the last few years, but seeing as though new beautiful spaces like this are being deployed in the interest of creative expression, inclusivity, community building, I think it's as good a time as any to remember that capitalist colonial nation states operate under a similar mantra, espousing rhetoric of cultivating wilderness into rigid lines, formal structures where progressive ideals can be openly transacted between elevated thought brokers, advisors, curators, market makers who derive present value not from any form of authentication, but only in the performative utility of said capital. Perspectives sourced locally and sanitized for ease of consumption. Spiritualities born from pain and loss, collected and bottled, recycled and repurposed to lighten your blood-soaked crown of manifest destiny, as it's grown quite heavy with the existential dread and nascent self-awareness of its own insignificance. Still, the blood soaks through the institutional adhesives you place. The smell permeates, cutting through the notes of lavender and gardenia, and whatever else it says in the package of the Jurassic flower rubber incense that transports you to sanctuaries far away, where offerings and mystical song dissolve in silence and meditation, where they cut off your ears if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. There is still a Muslim ban in this country. It has been given several names, most notably Executive Order 13769, entitled Protecting the Nation from Foreign Terrorist Entry into the United States. It since has operated under several denominations, agile and flexible in its construction and reconstruction, careful to identify us as adjacent to, while at the same time distinguishing us from plastic straws. Instead, we are given our own criteria and undesirable classifiers as banned sits comfortably alongside illegal, criminal, dangerous, while enjoying the benefits of all three. These intersecting designations presented as necessary casualties, roadblocks removed so that stolen and sanitized perspectives can flow freely between the neutral white walls of many galleries unchecked by lived experiences discarded as material waste. People in LA love to identify a space, a party, a function, a turn-up, a vibe, and ascribe some political meaning to it. Progressive, intersectional, DIY, radical, queer, safe, mixy, accessible, loosely benefiting migrant children. But why, and for whom? Do you really feel safe in this space? And if so, how come you're standing like that? Why are you looking so cool? Why aren't you dancing? Why aren't you being vulnerable? Why aren't you making out with someone? I thought this is where you go to be yourself and live your truth. Is this really your truth, or is it just your brand? Why aren't you hitting the joint? You think I'm made of weed? I'm only passing it to you so I can see if we can establish the modicum of trust and understanding you presume we already have. The truth is I don't feel safe in this space or any other white-owned or operated space unless I know my enemies won't feel safe in the same space. So with that being said, I hope and pray that this gallery will make most people uncomfortable and feel unsafe, most notably white supremacists, Zionists, white liberals, white socialists, white gays, white feminists, white men, white women, TERFs, tokenized non-black people of color who share my pigment but not my motivations, and anybody else who claims to seek political reform before the necessary social reform of decolonization, reparations, repatriation, and liberation of all black and brown people worldwide. Ameen, alhamdulillah. And with that, I have a few poems I want to read. So it's another poem about the Muslim ban, but here we go. This one's called Slippery Slope. America is a slippery country, full of slippery stairs and slippery slopes. I was told that a slippery slope is a logical fallacy, but then I was also told that the Supreme Court rules on precedent. There is precedent for discrimination against Muslims, so I asked, if the travel ban, why not the registry? If the registry, why not a mandate requiring bullets to be dipped in pig's blood? If pig's blood, Why not a more satanic ritual guaranteeing the physical and spiritual degradation of our flesh and our souls? Why not grind our bodies into minced meat and barbecue us over the open flame of a burning Quran and serve us to your friends overcooked and unseasoned? Or maybe eat us raw, crucially preserving our imported exotic nutrients. Devour me whole and shit out my discarded remnants into a Pyrex canister. Make sure it's sealed. Then launch my fecal encasement into space and shoot it with a ballistic missile. It's the only way you can be sure. And even then, can you really be sure? Beneath my charred and severed flesh, what is it that you wish to possess? Is it my visceral connection to the sun, to my ancestral soil, the mystic nature of my emotion? Does it threaten your superstition and pseudoscience? Did I do that? Do I crave death? Do I value death before life? Am I a sacred burial ground? Do you fear karmic repercussions? What do you tell yourself when you kill an ant? In your brave quest for truth, have you encountered people already living it? What did you do with them? Is it because I'm brown? A dog-eat-dog world is what you claim, but dogs don't eat other dogs, so let's just leave dogs out of this for now. It's you who glorifies cannibalism while at the same time distancing yourself from it and projecting it onto animals. I object. I don't see a phobia. I don't see the pathological fear. Only the ableist rhetoric you hide behind, the demonic three-headed offspring of your hatred, insecurity, and deliberate ignorance, masquerading as a Pavlovian conditioning. Don't appropriate being scared and traumatized. That's our culture. Don't gentrify fear. It is not me you fear, but rather your own current and historical sins and transgressions against people of color. Maybe you admit complicity of such transgressions and rejoice in your distorted history. Maybe you just love a gun selfie. Maybe you deny your complicity. Maybe you're appalled at the actions of the state carried out in your name. So disgusted, in fact, that your vanilla chai starts to lose its taste when you accidentally open an AJ Plus video that your NGO friend retweeted depicting widespread child poverty in Pakistan. Thumbnails transposed to your periphery, but dare not look too long lest you become basic. Pale serpents with pitchfork tongues, secrete your venom to national and local veins, to high-speed arteries with bandwidth to spare, to Eric, Matthew, Rebecca, and Claire. Thank you.